This video will guide you through the recommended steps of installation for Willseal 250R pre-compressed traffic-grade foam joint seal into an open joint. When your stadium is full of fans demanding top performance, Willseal 250R's patent-protected design is the right player in many applications. It can be installed in pedestrian traffic areas, parking garages, plaza decks, skyways, really anywhere that receives heavy traffic. Job site conditions can vary and may require deviation from the standard installation instructions. Contact your local Tremco CPG or Willseal technical sales representative for support. At the beginning of every job, it's very important to have all the tools necessary for a successful and efficient installation. You will need two 2-inch margin trowels, clean lint-free rags, IPA, isopropyl alcohol, acetone, 3-inch masking or duct tape, 1/4-inch masking tape, a caulking gun, a tape measure, a miter saw, utility knife, long serrated bread knife, a 3-inch jiffy mixer and power drill, accessories provided with the Willseal 250R sticks, weather bead sealant, splice adhesive, 2-part epoxy, and of course, Willseal's 250R foam sticks. Before we start, a word of caution. It is very important not to open any sticks until you're ready to install. Once the shrink wrapping is removed, the sticks will start to expand. If the foam strip is opened early, installation of the foam stick can be difficult. Store materials in a dry, enclosed area, making sure materials are off the ground and out of direct sunlight. Store material at a minimum of 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees Celsius for a minimum of 24 hours prior to installation, regardless of the temperature at the location of installation. Material will expand faster when hot and slower when cold. In cold temperatures, store material in a heated area 24 hours prior to installation. In hot temperatures, store material out of direct sunlight and not in an enclosed storage container where temperatures may exceed 100 Fahrenheit or 37.8 degrees Celsius. Before you begin, preparation is key to a successful installation. Substrate should be sound, clean, dry, and free of dirt, oils, and debris. Blow or sweep the surface and joint clean. Using the IPA and a clean, lint-free rag, wipe the joint walls clean. Following the IPA-soaked rag, use a dry, lint-free rag to dry the substrate. Check for cracks leading into the joint and repair spalls. Consult a structural engineer for areas of concern. Using the 3-inch tape, apply it to the surface of the concrete deck, up along the joint and up to the joint edge. This will keep the area along the joint clean in case of drips during the installation of the epoxy in the joint. In addition to the tape on the surface of the deck, we recommend using 1/4-inch tape on the inside of the joint, butting up to the top edge to keep the area clean when installing the epoxy. This will be important for the installation of the weather bead and necessary to achieve a strong bond to the concrete. Confirm the joint gap size every 5 to 7 feet for the entire length of the joint prior to installation. Sticks must be ordered in 1/4-inch increments of the mean joint size in order to fit properly. Stage each stick alongside the expansion joint, taking care that the proper sizes are in the right location. If you need to adjust a stick's length, use a miter saw to make any cuts to the material before removing the clear shrink packaging. All starting and ending pieces must be square to the termination point. Remember, do not cut into the shrink wrapping until you're ready to install into the joint. Verify all butt ends are cut square. For butt ends out of square, trim with a serrated bread knife. Note: carefully wipe the knife with isopropyl alcohol for a smoother, cleaner cut. Do not use toluene. Using 3-inch Jiffy mixer and power drill, mix epoxy as instructed. Apply a 1/16 of an inch to an 1/8 of an inch coating of the supplied epoxy with a 1-inch margin trowel starting a 1/4 inch from the joint surface to a depth of the sealant material plus 1/2 inch. This ensures the stick is adhered in place along the full run and that there is minimal potential for the epoxy to cure before the next stick is installed. Working time on the epoxy is 15 to 20 minutes. Remove the 1/4 inch tape from the inside of the joint for the length of the first stick. If the epoxy hardens on the surface of the substrate before installation, another coat of epoxy can be applied within 2 hours. After 2 hours, the substrate surface must be abraded to eliminate the amine blush that occurs during the final cure. Prepare Willseal 250R stick number 1 at the installation site. Cut the shrink packaging along the edge of the masonite strapping. Verify that the material is cut square at both ends for proper seams. All pieces must be square to the termination point. Once the joint material is cut out of compression, it will begin to expand. Remove the white release liner on both sides of the Willseal 250R and release film immediately. Thoroughly butter the butt ends of the stick with the supplied splice adhesive. Install the stick starting at the beginning of the joint, working the foam into the joint. Firmly push the end of the stick against the terminating wall to ensure complete wetting of the surface is achieved. At the end of the installation of the first stick, leave the far end hunched out of the joint. This will be in preparation for the installation of the second stick. As needed, hunch the newly installed stick upwards to allow the ends to expand out completely. This is critically important for performance. Recess the stick a 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch below the surface of the concrete deck. Continue steps until the joint is complete. Verify that the new piece of material is cut square and not at an angle to the previous piece installed. Apply supplied joint splice adhesive to the butt end of the new piece of material. Do not apply joint splice adhesive to the faces of the product that are in contact with the sidewall adhesive. Overlap extra material, approximately an 1/8 of an inch to a 1/4 of an inch or 3 to 6 millimeters at seams and splices to ensure that the seam is in compression after installation. Make sure seams are flush against each other and then push the pieces together. Butt seam all T and plus intersections. If there are any mitered joints or a hole or void, use the supplied splice adhesive to fill and seal the joint. Apply a 1/4 inch or 6.4 millimeter bead of the supplied traffic-rated silicone along the seams where the foam meets the joint wall on both sides of the joint. Tool all butt joints and transitions, ensuring the sealant has adequately wetted out the surface of the sticks and filled any voids in the splice. This also creates a clean, aesthetic finish. Note: it's important to check to make sure the bellows line up at the butt joints, and the butt joint sealant and seam sealant has not glued the bellows together. This is important so the bellows expand and contract independently and are necessary for the joint to function properly. Finally, remove any excess adhesive material left on the surface of the material substrate. Do not allow the excess adhesives to cure. Remove masking tape from both sides of the joint.